Guys, welcome, and this is going to be one of the best videos I have made up to date. I know it will be, and today we talk about this framework for growth and success. If you're listening and if you have a business or thinking of starting a business, especially when it's client-facing business, such as my practice, a chiropractic practice, you are going to want to watch until the end because these frameworks have built me a multi-figure chiropractic business that now has the ability to operate without me, and we still provide an incredible service, if not a better service, to our clients. And somehow an idiot like me has managed to build a team of 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 full-time team members. If I can do it, so can you. But let me show you what it takes to actually develop this mindset of growth, this mindset of development, of expansion. And most of the chiropractic practices that I work with are worried about new patients and how we're going to survive to the next month. So let's change that. The first thing I need you to think about is you need to get to the point in your life, in your business, where you just have to decide. I just need to make a decision about my business because I've had enough. And this could be, unfortunately, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom, and that unfortunately is the case in many people. But this lasting change starts with a decision to transform your mindset and therefore your practice. So with each one of these points, I'll try to give you, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll try to give you almost like an action task as well. So one thing I want you to think about is, what is the biggest limiting belief about my practice? And that often is something that you're not even aware of until you start to surround yourself with clinics that have proven you wrong. I remember the first time I walked in the room where most businesses were doing 100 to 200k a month, and I just thought that's absolutely impossible. And then I see these 17, 18-year-old kids absolutely smashing it. And I had the limiting belief that that's impossible, or you have to come from a rich background, you have to have the resources to get to that level. So I want you to kind of think for yourself, what is that one limiting belief that I have about my business, about my practice? And how do I replace it with an empowering belief? But you have to absolutely decide. The first step is, I've had enough, I'm making a decision, and I'm sticking with it. The second thing that I'm really strong on is this concept of mastering your state. What do I mean by state? Well, your emotional and your physical states drive actions. For example, if you feel like you're just about to die because it's super cold and you've jumped in a cold lake, it's very difficult to feel depressed at the same time. These two states completely contradict one another. The state of someone who is feeling down and upset and depressed is kind of usually down, shoulders are down, the voice is a little bit lower. And you chuck them in a lake that is frozen. I don't know if you guys have seen this documentary that I had a few years ago on BBC, and one of the best ways that they were managing people like that was just to say to them, look, cryotherapy, we're going to go outside in the cold, and it was up north and here in the UK, and we're going to go in the lake, and we're going to swim and see how we feel. And these guys come out and their body language is completely different. Their state was completely different. So how do you look after yourself? How do you look after your state as a business owner? Not just physically, but emotionally. Physically, this is where we can talk about first thing in the morning. How do you wake up? Do you drink your water? Do you do some press-ups? Do you do some squats? Do you do some gentle stretches? Do you go to the gym? Do you exercise? Do you meditate? Do you have a breathing practice? I spent the first 10 years building my business, not just focusing on the numbers of new patients, but actually looking after myself as well. It became more challenging when I became a dad and a husband and bigger responsibilities and more time that are allocated to other things, but I still have what I call me time in my diary. I physically have that booked on recurring every single day, Monday to Friday, and that is where I will do some breathing, I will do some meditating, I would try and go to the gym, just lift some heavy shit, go for a run in the evenings. It's really, really, really important stuff. So start each day with a certain ritual. My ritual is 2 minutes. I call it a peak state ritual. And that's where I have, it might sound a little bit wishy-washy to some of you, but I've been doing this for years and this stuff works. I read from a document that I wrote for myself. It takes me less than 2 minutes, and it starts by saying I take a deep breath in, and as I breathe out, I let go of anything that doesn't serve me. And then I have 10 to 12 bullet points that I have written for myself that are true for me, that I want to live by. And that is how I change my state. You can also change your team state. So you've got to train your team on all this stuff as well. Super important. first thing in the morning, do you get your guys to drink coffee with sugar, or do you say, hey guys, before we start the shift, let's have a glass of water, because we're going to offer that to patients as well. What is your state? How do you manage it? And once you master that, that can reflect in your team as well. So this video, although I'm not teaching you the exact strategy on how to get more new patients, you can go and watch previous videos. This stuff is what drives success. I promise you. So number one is you've got to make a decision. Number two is you have to master your state, both physical and emotional. Number three is you've got to raise your standards. You have to raise your standards. Some people might argue that this is what you need to start with, and that is just making a decision that I do not operate under a certain standard. With my business, with my life, it doesn't matter. Because here's the thing, the quality of your clinic reflects the standards you set. Or said otherwise, is the standards you set reflect how your clinic looks and how your clinic performs. Challenge yourself, challenge your team every single day to think, how can I exceed my patients' expectations daily? Do I buy them flowers? Do I buy them chocolates? Do I send them gift cards? Do I say happy birthday? Do I call every single patient by their first name? All of that stuff is just pays huge amount of dividends. It's not just about the Facebook campaign you're going to run this month or the external spinal screening you're going to do the next month. This is the stuff I can teach you on Mastermind. It's super easy. It works every single time. The stuff that we're talking about in today's video is the hard stuff. Raising your standards, looking at your state, looking at your health, looking at how you make decisions. The next one, understanding your why. Understanding your why. If I was to live a life with purpose, it's so much easier to feel success because I don't feel tired. I don't feel overworked. I don't feel burnt out. Why? Because the stuff that I do and the way I've created my life and my business and my lifestyle, I absolutely love. So why would I retire? Why would I retire even if I have the finances to or have the ability to? So it's super important to understand your why. One of our colleagues and an incredible human being, Dr. John Demartini, talks about the why. Simon Sinek talks about starting with why. If you haven't read the book, The Values Factor, by Dr. John Demartini, I strongly suggest you read it. On his website, and I have no affiliation with this, but it's helped me massively. On his website, he talks about finding your why, and he has a set of questions that determines your values. And because he believes that your values drive your decisions, drive your business, give your energy, you create a much more meaningful life. This why is extremely important for you to figure out. But what is my why? Because with purpose, success becomes much more sustainable. I want you to write down, for a business perspective, I want you to write down, what is your mission statement? What is your vision for the business? You know, when was the last time you communicated that with your team? We have it printed out in our clinic. We have, we call it a unifying sentence that I'm absolutely overly obsessed about. And that is, we change lives, one patient at a time. And that unifying sentence, I bring it to every single meeting. I talk about it probably daily with my team. They're probably fed up of me, sick and tired, but it's our mission, it's our vision. Because when we all work towards the same vision, as a team, as a collective, we get there much quicker. So you need to come up with a mission statement and a vision for your business, for yourself, and communicate that with your team. And then I want you to reflect. This is the exercise from this section, is how does your work improve lives beyond spinal health? If this is your belief system, have a think. How do we help patients beyond spinal health, beyond pain? How am I going to communicate that with my team? How am I going to communicate that with my patients? And that doesn't have to necessarily be the message on the front end. So we can talk about pain and discomfort and symptoms to attract patients. But once they're in your building, I spoke to a private client of mine about this. And she said, look, we always talk about just absolutely improving their lives by changing the nervous system and the state. That's brilliant. It will be confusing for the patient to hear that on a Facebook ad or a Google PPC ad to make a decision to come and see for their back pain. But once they are in your clinic, that is absolutely the level of detail that you have to discuss and communicate your why with patients. This stuff, guys, is priceless. This has taken me years to develop, years to borrow from other people's work, years to apply in my business, years to actually see the results, and years to be consistent with. And now I make a YouTube video in like 15-20 minutes. You can absolutely change your business in your life within the next 6 to 12 months. I promise you that. The next thing, and we're going to zoom out just to give you a little bit of clarity. So we started off, we're going to make a decision. We then went to talk about mastering your state. This is super important. The more healthy you are, the better your business will be. You need to raise your standards. If your standards are really, 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 really high, great. Keep them that way. Figure out the way to understand your why. There are tools to do that. The next thing that I need to discuss is taking massive action. So, momentum in business and in life is essential. It's super important. Some people argue it's one of the most important things to succeed. You need momentum. You need to be moving forward. So, in order for you to take massive action, I'm going to ask you to commit to improve one system weekly within your business, or monthly, depending on how big the project is. Think about, for the next week, just obsess over how do you onboard new patients? How do you market to new patients? What are your follow-up protocols? What are your training programs? How do you hire people? Just absolutely obsess over that and generate some momentum so you can keep up. But the most important thing is action, massive action. There is, obviously, you have to be mindful, some people can get, intimidated by the word massive action. But actually, massive action is an accumulation of small tasks done consistently every single day. So take action, make shit happen, excuse the French. Because the final thing, and this is the one that we are very good at doing, is embracing the power of proximity. Embrace the power of proximity. What does that mean? Well, that means that if you surround yourself with successful individuals, they will raise your standards. They will keep you accountable. You will break limiting beliefs. You will be supported by like-minded individuals. So this is obviously a shameless plug here. You can join my mastermind. And yes, you have to be approved. We don't approve everyone. It's called Practice Speak. But you don't have to join my mastermind. Join a mastermind. Join a group of people that want what you want, have done what you have done, have what does Tony Robbins say? He says, success leaves cues. So the mastermind that we've built creates a huge amount of momentum, a huge amount of accountability. It helps people to identify their why, it helps them take massive action, it raises their standards, it helps them master their state. We help people decide what to do and what to do in their business, what to do and what not to do, in their business. But again, you don't have to join my mastermind. Have a coach, have someone to guide you through it, because this framework, whether you like it or not, the framework for growth and success works. They're probably, depending on where you are in your journey, you might have to focus on some of those 6 points, not all of them. Some of you might have to absolutely focus on every single one of them. But what I beg you to do is to understand that business is a reflection of you. The business that you generate can only expand to the amount of expansion and growth you create for yourself as an individual, as someone who thinks and makes decisions clearly, who looks after themselves, who's a good leader, who's good at getting people to follow and support them. Because I found that the hard way, when I lost my health and I almost lost my life, I couldn't make any decisions. My state was gone. My physical health was gone. I had no standards. All I cared about was my health. I just want to be able to breathe again. My why was very clear, and that's actually helped me a lot. But I don't want any of you to go through what I had to go through to almost lose my health age of 26, 27. I couldn't take any action because my health was in the hands of doctors and surgeons, and I was just lucky enough to have loved ones around me. But that really, really taught me a lot of lessons about success and well-being and priorities in life. And I truly believe that's one of the reasons why my business is very successful, is because I had to build myself to the standard that I wanted my business to operate under, and therefore create that value for our clients. So guys, I just have a small favor to ask. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to any channels that we put the content out there. Some people that want to work with me, you'll find a way to do it. Normally there's a link below. And what I do is I just go and do an audit for your business. We have a very open and honest chat. As you can see, I'm super approachable and I'm not someone who is stuck up. I'm very particular in who we let in the program. That's because I want to protect my mastermind group of awesome individuals. And my promise is that we will add at least 10-15K per month of extra revenue in your business within 180 days. If not, have your money back. Because that's how confident I am that we produce results. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.